Okay, kia ora everybody. Welcome to Doc Edge School's screening of Picture Character, Birth and Evolution of Emoji. We would like to welcome Michelle Birstall and the Department of Psychology from Auckland University. And we'd also like to thank Ray Foundation for making this entire program possible. Doc Edge Schools wouldn't be possible without Ray Foundation, so we are greatly appreciative of them for not only helping us put on these screenings, but also have these conversations before and afterwards as well. I'd also like to thank Doc Edge, or all the team at Doc Edge who have worked really hard to make this possible, as well as Alicia Dar, who is the Doc Edge Schools coordinator, and will be guiding us through if we have any tech difficulties or questions or anything like that. So she's put our emails in the chat box. So if you have any questions lined up, just feel free to type them into the chat box here. But if you have any tech problems, email us on these addresses and we will sort you out. Yeah, I loved this movie because it really ticked a few boxes educationally. It's got language, it's got young people, and it's got using symbols and text, which is one of the key competencies of the New Zealand curriculum. And it showed history about how important digital communication has become in the last few years, and how it's becoming increasingly universalized through emoji, but also through things like Google Translate. I know Google Translate's not perfect right now, but you know the future of people from around the world being able to talk to each other in a meaningful way in real time in different languages and understanding each other is really not that far away. So yeah, it's interesting, and to see how we attach our identities to image, and how we how important digital design is to reflecting feelings and emotions as well. What did you think of it, Alicia?
Yeah, I thought this film was really. I love the graphics in it. Lots of fun graphics and imagery, and but also like I personally never would have thought that emoji came from anywhere other than Apple putting it in their keyboard. So yeah, I learned a lot. I love this film because it makes you know while everyone will be able to tell after the film that maybe if you have an emoji that you think should be in your keyboard, that there is a way um, to kind of fight for that. So yeah, I really loved it. I love the imagery. I love the music, and yeah, it's cool to learn the history of something that we use probably every day.
Yeah, I'm totally on board with that. So with that in mind, let's not hang around. We usually have a question and answer session afterwards, but unfortunately our guest can't join us today. However, we have recorded an interview with the director, and we've recorded an interview with a New Zealand artist who submitted a design to the Unicode Technical Consortium for approval. So they're still waiting on that, but it we'll point you to the direction of that resource after the movie. In the meantime, though, Alicia, if you can put the link to the movie in the chat box, and if everyone can click through to that now. Remember to keep your webinar jam link open. We'll close the cameras and the mics, and we'll just come back afterwards for the Q&A. For now, though, when I say go, we'll push the play now button, and then we'll push play on the actual file. So 3, 2, 1, play now, and push play on the file. Cool, and we will see you back afterwards for question and answers. Just looking at these credits, all of the emojis have written and performed by credits. It's weird.
Oh, bit of a catchy song.
Cool. Well, I enjoyed that.
Yeah.
What did you think? What was your favorite bit about it?
My favorite bit was probably when the women found out that their Mate emoji was approved. They fought hard. They had merch. They had t-shirts. So that's quite cool that, everyday people, they weren't necessarily influencers or anything like that. but everyday people manage to get their emoji approved. Um, yeah, and I loved learning about how people have had their emoji made. So yeah, what about you?
Yeah, I mean, just the fact that it seems like we're either on the cusp of it blowing up into a huge thing, or way beyond Unicode and way beyond Apple and Android, or having to be trimmed back, like fewer broccoli emojis and that kind of
Yeah,
thing. But yeah, no, the idea of the linguistics bit was really interesting to me, and that you still can't have quite those deep, comprehensive conversations about free trade or about Ebola or whatever just yet.
yeah,
Um, but what I love about people and what I love about language in general is that they'll always evolve something.
mm,
Communication is one of those really fundamental things about humanity, and if we try to make ourselves understood to someone else, even if they speak a different language, um, it's something that they can make happen, that we can make happen.
yeah, definitely. I found it really interesting the part where they were talking about the diversity issue, and like I know she made a joke about veggies, but I'm like, well, it's pretty serious, isn't it? Like, it's pretty serious. No, I'm not like an advocate for vegetables, but I mean like um, if a group of people who are making decisions that could influence and empower a lot of people, but if you know their biases are allowed to just come in, then that's yeah pretty concerning to me.
Yeah, and
um,
I'm always about opening things up and making them more accessible and more diverse and more representative.
mm,
I want all of rather than go, oh, we can only have a few vegetable icons, vegetable emojis. It's like, why can't we push to really actually strengthen this as a language and keep on developing and keep on evolving it. Um,
yeah, because like that guy said, like you don't want to be scrolling through to find your the emoji that you want, and I'm like, yeah, I do. Because you can, I know that on my phone, if I type a word and there's an emoji associated to it, it'll just pop up, so I don't need to scroll anyway. But yeah, I'm kind of like, I would prefer to have to scroll through lots to find the emojis that I want to use than just not even having that option.
Yeah, well, I mean, if you think about vocabulary as well, I mean, we've got to scroll through our brains, find the right word sometimes, and we want lots of different types of words so it fits perfectly.
mm,
And even if you're using software on a computer or on a phone, you don't mind scrolling to find that right thing, or searching to find that right thing. And much like at the bottom of my computer right now, I've got type here to search, so I can start off typing the
yeah.
kind of thing that I want to find, and it'll
Mm.
pop up. So I think that's a bit of a lame excuse to be like, oh no, you're going to have to look for stuff.
Yeah.
With the advent of AI, which will actually become quite closely linked to digital communication, we, you can say smiley face, and boom, you'll have the smiley face. But that'll probably be too much. You'll probably actually be able to have facial recognition and be like that, and it'll pop
Yeah,
a
yeah,
smiley face up for you.
yeah, definitely. So yeah, I thought those were quite interesting. The diversity points. I was like, could be better, could
And
definitely be better.
I mean exactly that, from the evolution of humankind, developing the English language that was typically evolved from white people in England, right? And so that there wasn't much, there weren't the words available in the English lexicon and the English vocabulary to describe other people's cultural experiences, or you know these kinds of things. So yeah, I think diversity is super important to be able
Mhm.
to, especially as we become a more globalized society in a globalized world. We need to be able to reference our globalized experiences through language, be it emoji or be it words.
Yeah. Definitely, but I'm excited by the fact that they don't expect that they're going to be the ones forever. Like, I think that's a huge opportunity for other technically inclined people to be able to jump in.
And artistically inclined people, there's
Yeah.
a world of possibility for people to express themselves. And what I like about the simplicity of emoji is that it's one image, one icon to represent an idea or a thought or a feeling.
Mm.
It's cumbersome to be like, yeah, that was cool, and then in brackets put, I don't really mean that. I'm being sarcastic. But with an emoji, you can just be like, you know,
Yeah.
have the eye roll emoji.
Yeah, definitely. So yeah,
Hey, if
so
we
much
do have any
potential.
teachers or students out there who want to ask a question or chip into the conversation, you can just type in the chat box. But if you'd like to join us up here on camera, you can go like this. But for the moment, I'm happy just to keep on chatting. Like I think that there's a world of possibility here, and a world for inclusivity and diversity, because we all, the common misunderstandings between cultures are usually linguistic misunderstandings, and the way that we use certain words to describe things with positive or negative connotations, and
Mm.
that's harder to do with images. What do you think?
Um, to decipher whether someone's meaning it in a positive or negative way.
Yeah, like what's an example? Oh, I can't even think of an example.
Do you
But
mean
how.
it's great? And you're like, do you mean like it actually is great? Or they're like, oh, great. Like, or different to that.
Well, I mean, yeah, I mean that is that you can have that sarcasm. It's hard to detect tone when you're typing just words, and that's
Mm.
where I think emojis help. Um, but what's an example? You're my white knight, for instance. That's a medieval term from and when you have culturally loaded descriptions of um, of certain ideas, which don't translate across. I mean, like for instance, even in their descriptions, it's like a thumbs up is offensive to some cultures, and so is the okay. What Western people perceive as the okay sign. It's
Yeah.
you actually for us to keep evolving a language, we need to keep on having that inclusive conversation about what is universally accepted.
Yeah.
And do we need to improve on it, or do we need to adapt it, or is it just fine? We need to keep on. Ironically, we need to keep on talking, but we need to keep on communicating.
Yeah, I think it's kind of like, I personally don't think that emoji could be an only language,
Hmm.
like a standalone language, because I think that they're inherently fun.
Yeah.
Um, so sometimes, like, I know if I'm trying to be serious with someone, I'll probably put no emojis on it. Especially if it's like a lengthy conversation or anything like that. I'm like, no, I'm putting my full stops in this, and I'm not putting any emojis in. So I think that that would be a downfall, in my opinion, if emoji were to become a full language, because then, yeah, I'm like, how do I know that you're taking me seriously? Is it because you're sending what emoji?
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's certainly an unwritten rule, in some cases a written rule, is that in business emails you absolutely do not even use a smiley face. It brings the company into disrepute, and it makes you look foolish. I'm
Yeah,
I'm a little less hard in that regard, because I think that there's in written communication sometimes there does need to be an expression that this is um, expressed with warmth rather than a background eye roll.
yeah, yeah,
The difference between a smiley face and an eye roll face
yeah,
sometimes could make all the difference between how a perceived communication could go. But you're right, is that, and even though language evolves, I still like the ideas that words mean things and words should be preserved in that meaning.
Yeah, definitely. And like, I'm a very visual person. That's why I love film. I love pictures and I love when people use emojis, but like sometimes I'm like, all right, we've got to be serious, please. Like with with whatever conversation's going on, I just need to know that you're being serious. Um, and I don't think that can come across with emojis,
Mm.
but
Yeah,
I love them.
fair call.
Yeah,
But I'm reminded of hieroglyphics. Part of our shared cultural history is the origin of within the Middle East and the origin of civilization around Sumeria and so on. But going out to Egypt is that the representations of behavior and icons and symbols. It's a long, long, long tradition, and
yeah,
um, yeah, words helped us get more precise. But um, but yeah, no, it's part of our history of communication.
yeah.
You got any more thoughts on the film? Because I think we're getting close to time.
Any more thoughts? I don't know. I love it. You know, I think it's so neat, and like from a filmmaking perspective, I think it's so neat how they incorporate the emojis in their landscape.
Mm.
Yeah, love it.
Well, I like last week and the week before, I absolutely loved talking with an artist, Michael Javier, who through he won a competition through Trade Me to submit the Kiwi logo or icon as representative of New Zealanders, or even just the Kiwi bird, to the Unicode Technical Consortium. So if anybody out there wants to actually do some more digging and look at that interview, it's pretty funny, it's pretty good, and it gives you an idea of what it takes as an artist to come up with an idea and then submit it. And we'll also have the interview with the director of Picture Character as well. So if you haven't got all of your Q&A goodness from Alicia and I here, you can seek out our bonus content on this page, which will be up for another little while. But for today, I think that's about it. If anybody does have any questions afterwards, you can email myself or Alicia at the email addresses here. Mine is Matthew, Matthagew, at dockage.nz. But otherwise, I would like to thank the Ray Foundation very much for making the entire Dockage Schools program possible, as well as Dockage staff, including Alicia, whose birthday it was yesterday. Happy birthday!
Wow.
And all of you teachers and students who have been watching too. Continue to follow our program, like our Facebook page, get on board. We have an on-demand program as well for the rest of the year. So like, share, follow, send us an emoji, and we'll catch you another time.
Great.
Thanks,
Thanks,
everybody.
everyone. Bye.
Okay, bye.